Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF coming at you with another video. All right, so I figured I'd make a therapy session. If anybody wants to hear me rant, this is that. No Lakers stuff, unless it just pops up. Because honestly, a lot of times when I do this, there's no rhyme or reason. Sometimes I'll have something in mind, but this time it's letting it fly kind of thing. I think probably want to decompress about obviously what I've been going through lately with my living situation and the choices that led up to that. As you guys follow my therapy sessions, I don't have to tell you all that has already happened in regards to what led up to me being in a situation where I received eviction papers in my mailbox. It's weird, man. I've suffered from something that hasn't been diagnosed, I don't believe. And the evidence of me having some issues have always been clear to me. I told my mother when I was a little kid that I used to struggle with my mind and stuff like that. Man, if you follow these therapy sessions, you see, excuse me, it's 4 something in the morning. But yeah, you see how my anxiety is kind of taken its process over the last several years in regards to certain things that I've chosen to do and why. And, it's one of those situations where, man, I tell you, this has happened before. I don't know if I've ever broken it down. The last time that it happened, I told people that it happened, but I don't know that I ever actually mentioned most of what I remember from that situation. So I think it'd be a good time to reflect on that, I guess. Maybe it'll help me deal with this since I have kind of gone through this. But when I look back on it, I was living at a place in Miracle Mile. That's the Wilshire district of Los Angeles. Not too far from the La Brea tar pits and maybe about 10 blocks away from the Cultural Museum, right where Biggie was shot. That area of LA. I was over there from like 16 to like 22. Oh, probably older than that, man. Probably older than that. I don't know how old I was when I finally left Dunsmuir. Much older than that, probably 30 something. I don't know. 31, something like that. I don't remember. I've been here for about 9 years. So whatever the case may be, I left that place not under my own reconnaissance, I guess you could say, but in a space where this basically was going on. I was trying to cope with what I remember is just hating life at the time, not being able to bring myself to do anything but jog, eat the same thing every morning, which wasn't good food. I was working hard on jogging, but I wasn't eating right, so my body didn't look half as good as it does right now. But back then I could eat anything I want, so I was. But nevertheless, I couldn't do anything but bring myself to keep that routine, smoke my weed on the stairwell. That was one of my favorite places to go, at the top of the roof there. Just go up there and sit. And it was a long period of time where, because I didn't understand myself, I wasn't very productive with my time. I didn't have any art, any channel, any outlets at all, but I was making playlists for my mother, but not seriously. I wasn't slapping together music with intention. I was just kind of just blending songs and giving them to her for fun. Excuse my yawning. But, trying to get around to the point. Either way, the point was I did not have a whole lot of desire to work. And the reason why I didn't have desire to work is because I had spent a good portion of my childhood being able to be comfortable not being at school. So anything that would otherwise challenge me to do that would get swept away, And so as I've told you guys, I spent a lot of time alone. And I think back on my life, it's like it's not the first time I spent a long period of time alone. Although I wouldn't stay in the house straight through like I did in this stint, because my mother would often come over the house. And during that year, she didn't live with me anymore, but she had just left the house maybe about a year before that. When I was about 22 years old, I went through a stint where I just didn't want to leave the house. So I spent the entire 22nd year of my life in isolation. I think it was 22, yeah. And my days would consist of me playing video games. Back then I was really heavy on working on my abs. And I would do a lot of sit-ups and stuff like that with my time. Bull crapping around with stuff that wasn't high frequency because I really didn't have a relationship with God like I needed. I prayed, but it wasn't a relationship. So I was doing whatever I wanted to do and then telling myself horrible things in response to that. Being not so kind to my mind. And it would take a long time before I learned how to be positive in that way. So I would sit and seethe in my pain, so to speak. And I'd be able to get up and do what it is that my routine was. But during the day, I couldn't bring myself. So there was no working going on. No working. And even though it was really tough to look back on my character, knowing that even though I was sick, I probably sick in the mind in regards to how I was feeling. My emotions were shot and the stress indicators were shot, so to speak. But I needed to be working. You know what I'm saying? My mother was sick. There was no excuse for me not to be working at the time. There was no AMC, no GME to be holding that would make that something that I would allow myself to do. It was no purpose to it other than just coping with myself and doing what came naturally to me, for which I was allowed to do, which was stay away, isolate, and be comfortable in that way. And I had a lot of good motivating factors in my mind for why I wanted to do that, and no spiritual relationship to coerce me into thinking that anything was better for me otherwise, and wasn't allowing anybody to tell me anything was better for me otherwise, etc. So it got bad, as this often does when I find myself depressed. I sat, and the information that would otherwise come to your door when you sit and don't work and don't pay came on my door, and they kicked me out of there a little earlier than they were supposed to at my other place because of the fact that they ultimately wanted to raise the rent. I wasn't delinquent on rent back then. That's another thing. My mother was helping pay for that with money she should not have been spending during a time when she shouldn't have spent it. And I think that, coupled with several other things that I just did not respect in my past, led me to sometimes punish myself, you know what I mean? Without actually intending to, but just backing myself into situations where otherwise I'm trying to protect that from which I don't like within myself from others, and protect myself from the judgment or the perceived judgment or the perceived opinions, or however you want to look at it. I was trying to protect myself from having to step to the plate and do things I needed to do because I was in a space where my mind wasn't telling me to do those things, and there was no motivation to fight my mind in regards to anything that came comfortable to me. I was more so interested in fighting the world about whatever it was that I felt was coming at me or disturbing my peace or what have you, however I perceived that. I don't actually know if there was much perception at all, because one of the real problems that I had back then was that I was smoking weed to no real rhyme or reason. Yeah, now, even though I smoke too much, I'm only smoking one strain, and I don't deviate from that, and I allow my brain to not have too many different types of highs or different types of things coming in, messing with it. Because at the time I was having a lot of memory issues, short-term conversation issues where words would not come out properly. The way I'm conveying words to you right now, if I had a bunch of sativas and different weed strands that I was smoking, there would be no way for this content to even make any sense. That's how bad my brain was functioning at times, allowing myself to just fade away into the weed because I didn't want to face these things. And it's just a matter of it being a long pattern of finding comfort in isolation and inactivity. So as you grow up to be a grown man, when you find yourself heavily stressed, that's exactly where you end up retreating to. So at 22 years old, that's what I did, even though I needed to work. Even though my mother, the character that I had in my heart told me that I was wrong for allowing her to pay for it while I was sitting there. But the reality was I was doing what I knew how to do. That's what I knew how to do as a child. I was a stressed out kid who had been through a little bit of trauma that made me a overthinker mind just shut down. And when you start having that mentality too early in life and you're allowed to do that, you're only going to do what you're used to doing as you grow older. You're only going to do what come naturally to you as you get older. Even if it don't make so sense to do so, you've still been able to get away with it. You still have had people who have allowed you to do it, or circumstances just didn't go bad enough to where you would otherwise be afraid not to do it. But that's the thing. They did that time. When I ultimately lost the spot over there by Miracle Mile, it had gotten extremely bad. It took a good friend of mine to basically do all the work in regards to finding my next spot. And even when we found my next spot, it took a good 6 months for me to get into it. And the miracle of the price tag on it, it was a lot of things that had to fall into place. I told you guys the story where I was expected to be homeless that day, and randomly I got the email telling me that I had gotten this place and all that. But that was in between 6 months of living in my mother's apartment that didn't have a kitchen at the time because of water damage. It didn't have a fridge because of that. So I had to eat dry cereal out of a duffel bag. I put all my food in a duffel bag. Couldn't drink milk, so it wasn't a problem. But, bread, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, bananas, apples, trail mix. That's what I was eating off of for like 6 months after I had gotten evicted from that place in Miracle Mile and ended up going to my mama's house. It wasn't enough to get evicted. You know what I mean? It was like other stuff was happening too. It was like when I got to the place that I was going to be living in, the place didn't have everything it needed to make the place comfortable. So the adjustment was overwhelming. That should have scared me enough to make sure I never allowed anything like that to happen again. Should have. I remember distinctive moments leaving that apartment at the end when, I was using my homeboy car, his truck that he had from his job to kind of move things around. I had my mom's car too, but during that time there was a situation where, if I'm not mistaken, I needed to allow my family to use the car too. I don't remember, the times are so blurred. But I didn't have the car when I needed it for a particular situation during that whole process, and it was just a whole lot of stuff that I had to react to, and I'm proud of myself in a sense that I was able to, immobilize all of, the people that were willing to help me, and thank them all for that. I'm still thankful for all of that. I'm not mentioning their names on camera because I just try not to mention my friends' names specifically too often. I tried my best not to, but I do appreciate the people that helped me. They know who they are for real, and it's one of those situations where I know I couldn't have did none of that successfully without them. And so, looking back on it, it was like I remember a specific moment when all of that was almost done. We had gotten everything out of the old apartment at the Miracle Mile area, and I remember that I had some things that I had to take from that apartment over to my mother's condo, and it was stuff that should not go into a backpack. Probably stuff I shouldn't have went back to even get. But it just meant that much to me. I had like ketchup and Eggos and a bunch of stuff that I was going to eat. And I just remember getting on the backpack with ketchup and getting on the bus with ketchup in my backpack because I didn't have the car. Didn't have not a whole lot going on for myself at the time. And I just remember feeling that in my mind, like I'm never going to let this happen again. I don't care what's going on. I'm never going to find myself in a situation where I got ketchup in my backpack trying to get to somebody's house because I done lost everything. And so it was one of those situations where I understood that it was going to require me to change dramatically in order for that to actually be the case. Friends of mine helping me just clean up that place. I remember wrapping up a bunch of my mom's glasses in, not glasses that you wear, but like glasses in like silverware and stuff like that, in paper towels. Not paper towel, but like newspaper, just to make sure it preserves. I remember having to throw out a bunch of stuff toys and stuff that had been kept from my childhood that had been sitting in my room for years collecting dust. Just all of that had to be done in a short matter of time because of how quickly I got evicted and how fast they were moving everything. I remember my mother taking me to the courtroom, and she was sick, yo. Like really sick. We stopped at McDonald's early on before the court, grabbed some sausage McMuffins and ate them in the car. And I remember her trying to walk up the hill area downtown near the LA courtroom. It was like a hill from where we had parked. It was like 3 blocks away, and the hill itself was so steep, and she was dealing with chemo, and she could barely walk up that thing, But she was determined to do this for her son, even though her son wasn't determined to really help himself or her, because I couldn't really bring myself to be a man. I was disturbed. I had the mentality, the habits, and the spirit of a child who was scared, unhappy, fearful of his mother's passing, and not in a space where he wanted to step outside of his own comfort zone to help, to basically help take care of his own self. And so as I look back on that, my natural inclination is to be hateful of my own self because of it, and expect people to not respect me for the same reason. But I want to tell people that wasn't what was in my heart. That determination to assure that never happened again, I wasn't able to secure that at all. It's happening now, but for entirely different reasons. Entirely different mindset, entirely different everything, but the reality and the result is the same. It's like shooting your basketball shot totally different. Take a free throw and shoot it from underneath my legs. You know how they used to shoot it back in the old day? See grandpa shoot the basketball under his legs? And then you switch up the style and you shoot it overhead like they do in modern days. If it goes in, right? Same result, entirely different path, entirely different technique, entirely different motivation. It's kind of what it is. Back then, I was doing what I was accustomed to doing while dealing with what I was accustomed to dealing with. Certain instances would take place. It would shut me down, so to speak, mentally. Don't want to work, don't want to play, do what comes naturally, stay away. And you do that as you get older, you see the consequences of it. You realize that you can't get away with it. Now, obviously, when I did that, my mother was still alive, which means there was a lot more trauma to face after that. And so that's what happened. After I got to the place where I couldn't use the kitchen and all that, it wasn't very long before we lost her while I was living in that situation. I'm pretty damn sure the kitchen wasn't fixed the day she passed. I'm pretty sure I ate peanut butter and jelly or something, or dry cereal that morning. And the funny thing is, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. It got to a point where that was the least of my uncomfortable. I had gotten comfortable with that. When I say I got comfortable with that, like actually comfortable with that, I didn't have no problems. There were times when I was coming home looking forward to eating that stuff. Dry and everything. You just got used to it. I tell you, I can condition my mind for certain things, but can't overcome the anticipation of other things. It's just a byproduct of the problem. Yeah, I guess, I don't know what else to say. I haven't been diagnosed, which really works against me. But nevertheless, it's one of those situations where, as I reflect on all those different little snapshots of that era, I just realized that this time I shot the ball with an entirely different technique, entirely different motivation. And you guys already know about that. I was working. The AMC thing came into my life. And once I started realizing that there was a chance that was starting to run up, I started to become less okay with working, less okay with being able to endure circumstances that I long hated, staying in situations that I long would have retreated from to my comfort zone to be okay. And I stayed in the job longer than I would have otherwise. Times when I felt like I did when I was sitting at the Miracle Mile spot, sleeping in the day and jogging. I was feeling like that every day, but not retreating. I was feeling like that every day when I was living here, working that job at the time, which was like a year and a half ago. I was feeling like that. I spent maybe 3.5 months in that mindset out in the world. I'd never done that before. And it was okay to a point because I had a routine, even though I didn't necessarily like where I was at. It was enough going on there to where it was not a chore for me most of the time. But near the end, it had just gotten too much, and I had to retreat to my comfort zone. And in doing so, I had spiritually told myself that, this is something that I don't need to be doing, but because these shares are in place, this is just, it's an understanding that I'm going to lean on within myself that's going to move me and it cost me in my future. And that's just what it ultimately came down to. When you lean on your understanding, it's not necessarily going to work out. Now, mind you, I gotta look back on that a little further and think about some of the things that happened that I told you guys about that ultimately led to me knowing I needed to quit the job. And when I was praying those prayers, what was coming to me was that I needed to stay home and not do anything other than what comes naturally to me because of reasons unknown. I didn't know why. All I knew is that I couldn't bring myself to do what I needed to do anymore. Worked them jobs for 3 years. After my mom had passed, I had taken so many different L's in life during that process, trying to keep up with what doesn't come naturally to me. Trying to be there every day and pretend like I wanted to do that stuff and then retreat to my comfort zone, away from the group, just because that's what came naturally to me and I couldn't do it otherwise. I couldn't explain to people that it wasn't because I didn't believe that I needed to be a part of the job or that I didn't understand that numbers is what made the teamwork work, or that it's my responsibility to make people feel at ease because I'm a security guard and I don't need to be retreating to places they can't see me for no reason. But I couldn't bring myself to be a professional because I had no desire to be that, really. More so desired to just have this thing squeezed so I could be rich for the rest of my life and retreat to a more comfortable comfort zone. But, when you're dealing with the AMC GME squeeze, you know that it has no dates on it. All the information that's out there that you're going to read is going to tell you that this either ain't going to happen or that the SEC ain't going to make sure whoever's behind this, pays for it in a timely fashion. They're going to take their time and they're going to take even more time. And that's what's happening. I've run out of time in regards to my finances, sitting here waiting for it to squeeze, doing what comes naturally to me for different reasons. Now, the reason I stayed in this house was not necessarily to retreat to lick my wounds only, but to turn myself into somebody that I can respect. To work away some of the things that otherwise made me so uncomfortable in everyone else's space. And it wasn't just the things that was coming at me. It was the things that I was allowing to happen, the things that I was allowing to do, and the things that I didn't do that made me guilty, made me feel guilty. Things I didn't do that ultimately I didn't assess were conditionings of the mind that I found myself trying to protect myself with, defense mechanisms that just did not work for anticipation, concerns that were not going to manifest as colorful as I would have it in my mind. Worried about things happening that weren't about to happen, but coercing myself into other things that would definitely be just as stressful, if not more. So in this case, I prayed to God every day, like, Lord, keep me on your point, on your path. Keep me on. If you want me to go back to work, instill it in my heart to get back out there. Because it's deep in my heart that I don't ever want to do that again. It's deep in my heart that this go exactly the way I wanted to, and I haven't covered my backside for it not to. And I'm leaning on people that I love to keep me out of it, just like I did when my mother was alive, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work even when you have things lined up. If those things don't line up, you're going to be the one lined up. And so that's what's happening. And I've done all these different things that I've told you that if the rubber was going to meet the road. I told y'all that I wasn't paying the bill. I told y'all that I couldn't bring myself to work. I told y'all that I didn't feel I needed to or shouldn't have to because of what I'm owed. And I told y'all that I was going to hold my shares and never quit and all of that. And I still have them. Even though I've been picking from them to keep my mental health going, picking from them to feed my mortal body, even though the food that I've been eating has made me sick most of the time because I can't eat really anything. I'm dealing with weed habits and all these different things that are no excuse, but still exactly the reason for why I've done certain things. I think it's weakness, man. I'm gonna try to surmise why I do certain things. I don't think it's any other reason than I'm not as strong as I need to be as a person. I can speak strong. I can tell others how to be strong. I can tell them how to fight their demons. But when it's time for me to fight mine, I'm sometimey. Sometimes I'm coming with fire. Other times I'm coming with grace. Other times I'm coming with, please, let's not fight today. And a lot of times I end up coercing myself into situations where I have to fight that day. And I have to fight the next day and the day after that and the day after that and plan for nothing good because of the decisions I made to protect myself. And it gets so tiresome because you wake up in the morning, you still haven't seen the squeeze. You wake up in the morning, you're still in this pattern that you don't respect. You wake up in the morning and you realize that now the comfort zone that you have is being ripped out from under you, and it's your fault. Again, and you lied to yourself, telling yourself you wouldn't do this again, and you did. Again. And the reason why is an entirely different reason. I wasn't promising God nothing. I wasn't praying to God about anything other than fixing myself back at Miracle Mile. But here, I've prayed about everyone else more than me. But I've worked on me. I've worked on me more than anything else, and I've stayed away from others, and I'm happy about it. And I have a schedule to keep that I don't think I can keep because all this is going away. My Lakers schedule, I'm as consistent as the team. I ain't missed no games. I don't know how I can keep that going. Not without addressing everything I have to address. It's impossible. It's gotten to a point where the consistency that I have to keep is going to make it so that other things just don't happen. If I stay doing this, they're going to rip me out of here. They're going to come get me out of here. And probably throw me in jail for not paying people. So it's like, when you have the mental issues that I have, or the way I perceive myself, it ain't about wanting to do better or believing in God and praying to him. Because I tell you, when I retreat these days to my most depressed spaces, I'm saying beautiful thoughts. I'm telling myself you can do it. I'm telling myself you're great. I'm telling myself I believe in God, praise God all day. But I'm still heavy. And that's what I've come to understand. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I'm having a very difficult time praying depression away. I can psych myself into saying good things while I'm depressed, but I'm still inactive to a degree. And yeah, I'm fighting that depression because I get up and I'm more productive. I get up and work out. I get up and do art. I did like 20 art pieces last night that were really good too. Throwing that depression into that stuff. I made a playlist last night, or rather the night before, the morning, around the same hour, about 24 hours ago. I made a playlist, could barely focus on it because of the stress I was dealing with in my mind. But listen to the playlist, it was one of the best ones I've made, if not the best one I made all year. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Nothing with regards to my mind. Because even then, when I was shooting the ball underhand, laying down, sleeping in the daytime, smoking weed and all that, I didn't have no reason to love myself because I was doing things that didn't help myself. But now that I'm doing things that I'll be proud of, including getting in this camera, trying to be a good example to you, what ends up killing me in my mind is all these positive things that I say, and I can't turn myself into somebody who allows myself to display those same things. It's like you're a walking hypocrite, so whatever your word's gonna be, ain't nobody gonna listen. It's just the way of the world. If you don't project the success that you speak, you're just perceived as a hypocrite, and to be not listened to, and the wisdom that you speak otherwise gets discarded. And I just don't. First of all, I know that we can do better. As a species, we can evolve through that. And two, I believe I need to be able to evolve through that too, because I know we probably won't while I'm on this earth. So if I want people to respect that I have something of substance to say, I have to be a good example in fighting these demons. But the reality is, I got to be honest with the people. I can't lie to them and tell them I'm winning a battle I ain't winning. I can't lie to them and tell them I'm doing fine when I'm dealing with the same consequences I dealt with when I was 22 and 16 and all the different years where I retreated to myself because of reasons of mental health that were never diagnosed. And so now I'm dealing with the fact they want me to write some letter, expressing to them why I should keep my place. And the reality is, ain't nothing I'm going to say make any damn sense. Nothing makes any sense. I can claim mental illness, but never diagnosed. I got debt. Debt that wouldn't hurt you if you were a rich person, but debt that hurts me when you don't have anything. Debt that's probably going to get me in some real trouble, man. And the funny thing is that I coerced myself into this space in faith, telling myself I'm going to hold these shares and it's going to pop and I'm going to pay everybody. I'm going to pay everybody. And then I'm going to take some of that money and I'm going to do good things with it. I'm going to buy myself some property. I'm going to this, that, and the third. All these different givey thoughts. But at the end of the day, the only way for this to work, and you're trying to hold money and eat and live, those two things can't exist at the same time. And anybody who's looking in the camera watching me talk all this time knew that, including me. My thing was, I don't care how many shares I have, because even one of them could send me to a space. Just one could take care of what my problems are. I'm not used to having anything. You give me $100,000, I could probably live off that for the rest of my life. Sad as it sounds, it's true. It's the way I've been budgeting these last 2 years. It's very true. And so that's another thing. It's like when you look back at all the sacrifices I made, unnecessary sacrifices based on how I was looking at things, but nevertheless, sacrifices forced just the same. Going without buying clothing, going without buying new stuff, sheets, allowing myself to go through so much in regards to my health because I didn't want to pay for health care because that's yet another bill. Didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi because that's yet another bill. TV don't work because that's yet another bill. Keeping up with the Lakers through my phone when I'm not even, you know what I mean? It's like, I believe some of the things that I've accomplished have been utterly remarkable, and the fact that I've done it without communicating with others is, I don't know how I'm going to look back on these times because I'm still living them, but, I can say I'm proud of that, at least what I've accomplished while being in this ridiculous space. This time, shooting the ball differently, all the different works that I have, I'm really proud of, including this channel, where you'll see hours and hours of what it is I've been doing while I've been retreating in this space by myself. And the reason why I don't have money, they're righteous. I don't want to take from people. Even though I need to feed myself, I just see myself taking from people who are being cheated from. Everyone is being cheated. The whole world is being cheated. Why am I going to take from people I know are being cheated? Why am I going to siphon from a world that I know is sinning to get this money? That's one of the motivating factors for why I did what I did this time, is because I'm tired of walking around in a security uniform pretending I'm something I'm not. Having people look at me like I'm about to do something I'm not even trained to do. People looking at me like I'm about to hurt them when I didn't even have that in my heart. I hated all of that, and I needed it to stop, and still do to a point. I don't think I can walk back into those spaces right now, even though I need to, and to be effectively who I need to be in order to get the job done. It's not there. And that's the problem. It's not there. Desire to keep working for you, whoever you are, boss man, I promise you, my professionalism is at a zero. I don't have it. I've been in isolation for over 1.5 years, man. I don't even have normal social habits at this point. I'm a certified weirdo today. Probably always was, but the good thing about it is I like that person now. I don't hate myself. I ain't telling myself a bunch of stuff I don't like. I'm telling myself I have a responsibility to my voice, so I got to fight these demons. I'm telling people that, I'm standing on the fact that I've made ridiculous mistakes that I don't respect for reasons that wasn't because I didn't have a heart for not. It's because I couldn't coerce myself into doing anything other than protecting myself, even when it didn't make any sense. It's like that horrible scene where somebody is trying to, save somebody from drowning. And when they get to that person, they drown them because they're trying to save themselves. That's me. That's me, man. I found myself apologizing to my little brother a couple days ago on Instagram for no reason. Well, good reason, but at random would be the better way to describe it. Telling him I'm sorry for being away. I had no excuses. And he told me, thank God he told me that he's not in a space where he's looking for that type of thing or that he needs that. His family keeps him strong in regards to that, and I have nothing to be apologizing for. And I told him I thanked him for that. I appreciate that. I'm glad he see it that way. I wouldn't have it no other way. You know what I mean? It's like I don't expect to be needed in a space where I've never necessarily been. But I wanted the people I know and that I love to know that if there was something they needed from me that I didn't provide thus far, especially those that I feel I'm responsible to, like my little siblings, I want them to know that it wasn't in my heart to leave them like that, just like it wasn't in my heart to do what I did in regards to my mom. And I hope that this move that I made would make up for it. These shares I held would allow me to have something to try to give to those people in its stead. Since I couldn't be there in their lives, since I couldn't be there for their kids because of my social ways, all of my friends and family who've had children, I don't know their kids. It's just a shitty trait. It's a bad human trait. But it wasn't inspired by indifference or hate. It was inspired by trauma and deep insecurity and anxiety. And the brain that just thinks 10 and 12 times more than it actually needs to assess a situation. I hated myself because I loved others and I couldn't show them that properly. I hated myself because I loved myself and I couldn't show myself that properly. That's what I came to understand. I never really hated myself. I just didn't know how to help myself, so I couldn't respect myself because I was told it was my responsibility as a man to take care of myself, even though I didn't know how to do it. And now I know how to do it, but it takes a lot out of me because I'm not used to doing the things I need to do. I can keep a job for about 3 years and then I blow up. I explode. Because that's not my natural state to be a pro, as I said. It's not my natural state to fake the funk. I'm an honest person. It's not in my space to not be real. If I see something in your heart, in your eyes, and it's on my heart, I want to say it. And I don't want a name badge to keep me from saying it because I'm being professional. I don't want to be professional. I want to be a human. And I was thinking about that, like, yeah, that you're always going to have to work. You always got to be productive. You always got to be competitive in a world where everybody's trying to get what they want and everything like that. But I'd like to live in a world where I can still give without having to go out and do too much. You know, I do enough that I love to do. I need to be getting paid to do what I love to do. But the marketplace, I perceive the marketplace it's a trap in this country. I'm watching all these celebrities run around with big red boots, and I know it's people behind them telling them to do that is laughing at them because they can make people do that. And it's just like, I don't want to be a celebrity in clown shoes, or a celebrity making fun of celebrity in clown shoes, because they all being paid by the same people, man. And I don't want to reach for their respect, because if I have to do that, I have to give in certain things that come to me naturally, and that's how I perceive. That's what gets in the way of me and my success. That's what gets in the way of my basic needs. I just want not to be a part of that. I don't want the money that they can give me. Give me $8 billion. Take it all from me because I said something that I'm probably prone to say. If you watch my therapy sessions, I'm prone to say that. Whatever it is they don't want me to say, I'm prone to get. I'm gonna talk like that to a degree without the disrespect. But like that's the problem. I'm gonna fight the establishment. That's what comes naturally to me. I'm gonna fight its ways, just like I should be fighting my own. And I perceive a lot of what goes on with me, their fault, because of my talent and my need to stay away from them because of their actions and their practices. I ain't about to be in part of none of those conspiracy-like circumstances that seem to be popping up with these damn celebrities. Weird coincidences, stuff to make them look funny. I don't know what's going on, but I'm tired of the clownness. And so I have talent in all these different areas that would allow me to be an entertainer, and I know that if I'm going to reach for the success that comes with entertainment, that I'm going to be bound by certain things that keep me from being a better human, and I'm already bound by certain things like that. I don't need extra. That's the point. Look at all the stuff that I hate myself for because I couldn't force myself to do right. You want me to walk into a situation where I have influence over others and then proceed to take money from people who want to do bad to those people? Who want to take things from their mind, put things in their mind that shouldn't be there? I can't be that person. That gets in my way. My morals get in my way. It's the same reason why I don't have a wife, because I don't want to do certain things that I think come naturally. I don't want to grab someone and bring them into a situation where you ain't gonna do right for them. I'm gonna leech off a rich woman. It's not my soul. It's not my soul. It's probably what I need for the mindset and the way I am. That's not my spirit. I don't want to do that to nobody. I'm the dude that wants to buy Oprah dinner. Even though she's a billionaire, I want to sit down with her and buy dinner because I'm a dude. I'm a man. Or so I tell myself that, right? It's principle driven. Principles I can't often keep up with because of other aspects of my life that don't allow me to. So it messes with my confidence. It's a vicious cycle that just keeps going. But what I've come to understand now is like, and getting myself evicted this time, it's like I've prayed to God every day. And when I go into my innermost, you know what he tells me when I pray? To keep doing it. So now that it's led to this time, even though it's motivated differently, it leads to the same results. It's like, Lord, why did you coerce me into doing something you knew wasn't going to work? And the answer came to me, and it said, it's because you needed to go into a space where you were naturally comfortable. And unfortunately, that's what you're used to. That's why I told you to do this. That's what came to me about a day or so when I was praying about it. Like, Lord, why did you let me hold my shares if you wasn't going to pop this thing? Why would you let me deplete my funds, let go of my car, my job, everything? And he's like, well, didn't you accomplish more than you ever would have if you would have kept all those things? And I look at all these things. Yeah. I look at all those therapy sessions. Yeah. 3 a.m. I couldn't get up and make no therapy session about anything at 3 a.m. if I had a job. I couldn't do all this Laker stuff, as I told you guys, if I had a job. I've been able to do this for 2 seasons almost. You know what I mean? Unemployment checks never came because the government just ain't gonna give me no unemployment check. Just ain't. Forget why I needed one or why the heck I was qualified. They just said I wasn't, and so therefore I never got a single check. They cut off my SNAP benefits, said I needed to tell them about my shares. I don't want to tell them about nothing. I'm trying to fight corruption, not feed into it. But I couldn't secure that by way of my own habits. If I was working like a normal person, had a wife that contributed to my financial situation like a normal person, I could hold my shares, keep it going. Maybe. Didn't know where I lived, how much I made. But it's like, this is the point, man. I've sacrificed a lot to be able to both simultaneously keep the comfort that I've been used to for 38 years and fight the corruption that I want to defeat with the rest of my life and the energy that I have. And I can't defeat that enemy. I can't. God got to defeat that enemy. That's not my fight. That's the problem. I jumped into a fight that I thought I could win without even training properly. And my thing was, it's worth it because of the type of reward that could come from what it is we're doing, both morally and financially. I'm like, it's worth it, man. Let's just do this. And I didn't intend to not work while I was doing it. I was accumulating shares, working every day. Them shares were $50 a pop. I was buying 5, 6, 7 a week. I was buying the mugs. My check, man. I spend nothing on nothing. I stopped paying rent, stopped paying everything but the cell phone just to keep accumulating shares because I was going to do my part, man. I was going to do my righteous part to keep my foot on the neck of those who have siphoned from the world's economy in very, very messed up ways by way of the stock market. And I stand on that. I stand on that with everything I got. It's the same reason why I've chosen to shoot my free throw this way and not work this way this time, because I know they siphon away from everything. But does that mean I don't have to feed myself? Does that mean I don't need money to feed myself? Does that mean I don't have to buy clothing? Does that mean I get to just sit here and starve to death because they're being corrupt? Well, if you ask me, up to the last couple months, somewhere between yeah and hopefully not was the answer. Because any day it could pop now, but I'm picking away at it. Any day it could pop now, but I'm not paying rent. Any day it could pop now, and it's not. And it's not. The corruption is carrying forth. Those who are in charge are able, and God is not moving this thing in my favor at all. And that's just what it is, man. Guys like Adam Aaron, they've taken advantage. Adam Aaron being the CEO of AMC, he's taking advantage of the opportunity and is doing other things that improve his company's health that maybe don't necessarily improve the share price. And it's hurting me bad in that way too. $50 shares turn to $5 shares. What the hell happens then? That's what happened to me. And so I had opportunities to pay people and shave away at big amounts when I just decided not to for principle. I ain't touching that money when it's way up there because I hold in my shares. I don't care what it's worth. Ain't nobody getting paid and we get paid because this is an apes. It was misguided in a sense that couldn't keep gravity underneath me. Even if I'm praying to God, he's telling me, yeah, keep going. He going to lead me right to a hard time because at the end of the day, he'll get me out of that, but I'll still have to deal with it. And that's the point. Now I'm in that hard time. It's like, damn, you really didn't have intentions of making me rich, huh? You just had intention of making me productive. Just making it so that I could say certain things at a certain time and reach a certain person or two, maybe everybody else later on. You made it so that I could make the playlists I needed to make, the Laker videos I needed to make, and all those different things that ultimately could get me all the money that I'm hoping to get in this squeeze, but ain't going to get me that money because I'm not promoting properly. Getting better, but nobody knows it. And it's like I'm sick of this shit. Like, I'm really sick of this. I'm sick of living like this. I'm sick of perceiving the world like this. I'm sick of being in a world where I can't reach for success as I perceive it because of the muzzle that's going to come to my natural way and my ability to make life harder on everybody when I start feeling muzzled. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll blow the whole thing up, bro. And all that stuff that's going on, I'll tell the truth. You don't, nah. Anybody who's following my psychology knows not to put me behind the damn curtain. You know, and I'm not going to deny that because I need some of what it is that they have to reach the people I want to reach or to get the money I need to save my life. I cannot relay what it is that they're about to others. I'm the opposite. So this is where it becomes a situation where I'm like, as I perceive it, it's like it's a rubber reading the road for myself as a person, as a human. Like I have to ask that. Even though I have no desire to kill myself, I also have no desire to do what it takes to live. Like go back to work, I can't do that. Even the things that it takes to address the situation, I'm sitting there like, so I got to do that by myself? Like you want me to write a letter? I don't have Wi-Fi. I have a printer, but the Wi-Fi don't connect to the printer. So I have to go out to do all the things that need to be done, and I haven't left the house. About a year and some change. I got to call people, tell them all things are all messed up. People I ain't talked to, man. You know, it's like, I'm by myself this time. At least back then I was going out with my buddies. I ain't talked to the same people who've helped me. I ain't talked to them people. Some of them moved away. The person who helped me find this place, she's in Texas. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anybody. I got friends, but I ain't talked to them. I got family. Last time I talked to them, they were asking me to do things I should have done that I didn't do because I was hell-bent on doing it the way I was doing it. I was fighting a good fight against myself and against corruption. So now it's like, man, when I ask for help, do I have a plan? No. So what do I have? What do I have a right to ask for help? Help to do what? To keep this going? Because that's all I ever want to do is to stay in the space I'm in and keep doing what I'm doing for myself and others, I guess, if you're watching. But even if you're not, I'm still doing it for the future. So it's like, I want to do what I'm doing. But if the rubber meets the road and I can't keep doing it, and I'm telling God, hey, this is what I want to do, but he's not inspiring me to do what I need to do. And he's letting me sit in this space where I'm sitting on faith and nothing's happening for long periods of time. And it's just driving me to be more motivational in regards to being productive, but also further unhappy in regards to wanting to go back to work, anticipating having to do that, and the difficulty it would be to absorb that truth and live in it after being hell-bent on never doing it again for the right reasons in my mind. Part of me doesn't want to see that through at all. Call people, tell people this is what went wrong. I don't want to see or hear or nothing. I don't want the responses that come from, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. No, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I'm telling you now, I didn't. I didn't do what I was supposed to do because I couldn't bring myself to do it, and I was praying to God and he was telling me not to. That's exactly why I didn't. And that's why we're here. I would love to tell people where I was just so depressed the whole time and I've just been in a sad space. That ain't true. This has been the happiest year of my life. Happiest, most productive year of my life. I wouldn't have changed nothing for the world, and if I could keep it going, there would be nothing that stopped me. But I can't keep it going. I can't. The rubber meets the road as it pertains to what I do. How I do it. Can't be done. It just, we knew this. Everybody who watched me knew that this was going to stop. This may be the week. Because they want me to write that letter. They didn't even put a date on the courtroom. They just said, if you don't hit us in 5 days. I don't even know when you put that in the mailbox. For all I know, they come to get me tomorrow. Like, is that real? And like I said, I ain't left this room but for nothing but to drop the trash in the trash can in over a year. My mind is conditioned to be right here. My heart is conditioned to do what I'm doing on this camera. And my soul wants to leave this earth if I can't do it. I'm telling y'all the truth. I've been praying a lot about this. And the Lord says, you know what I mean? Just keep it together. Stay strong. The word one came to mind. I don't even know what one means. Maybe one more day, maybe one more decision. And then when I was praying, I was like, you know, inspire me to do right. Don't have me sitting up here mad at myself because I'm trying to follow you, God. Show me the way. If you want me to go back to work, put it in my heart to get it done. I don't want to hate things that need to be done because I hate the consequences that come with it. So help my mind, man, is what I've been telling him. And he won't. He won't. I don't think he wants to, and I think it's a good reason for that. Like I told you guys before, like my mental illness, or whatever I perceive to be my mental illness, is coerced me into specific spaces to do specific things. So if he takes that away, you know what I mean? I don't get to be who I need to be in those ways. So he's going to let me suffer, it feels like. And the consequences of what I'm doing, and the choices that I've made, and the mistakes that have been made, and the fact that I've done this before, I promised I wouldn't do it again, it would happen. The fact that I was telling myself that we going to pay everybody and this is how it's going to go, and it's just not. You know, it's like when you tell yourself you're going to fight the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in regards to what you're doing, you're going to beat the system, you have to coerce yourself into a position where you can take care of your own house. Because if you can't take care of your own house, you can certainly blame the corruption, but it ain't the corruption that did that. Is your methods. But the methods that were prayed about. It wasn't like I was unwise or unaware of this happening. This is just what my spirit let me do. This is what it told me to do. Quit that damn job, go home, retreat, and wait for the squeeze. And I've done that, God. I've done that. Ain't shit come from it, man. Nothing. And I still believe. It's not like I'm saying, no, they're going to win. No, they ain't going to win. It's going to take a long time to stop them. Citadel, Fidelity, Bank of America, anybody, all of them. And I'm naming them by name. I don't care, bro. I don't have anything. What are you going to take from me? You have everything. You're why I don't have. Coupled with my own choices and mental illness. And just the weakness of my own heart, which I pray every day the Lord take from me. But it's a process. I feel really, really confident that I've made some massive breakthroughs. But the hole I was in was a lot deeper than what it is I've been able to pull out of thus far mentally. And so when I say I don't want to be here anymore, I actually mean that. Like, I really want to go home because I'm tired, man. It's not because I'm not happy on earth. I was never unhappy on earth. Still not. But the earth doesn't allow me to do what it is I do comfortably without, having to be ambitious, money chasing, and sell your soul, but not too much. It's like you got to sell a little bit, not too much. You're going to be coerced into a little sin. That's why the Lord, so to speak, as he always puts in the religions I read about, you're a sinner, human. There's no way around it. This is why. It's not because you could sit down and still find yourself in sin necessarily, though you may be able to. But like, even if you sit down and do nothing, the world's going to coerce you into sin. You got to go out there and do something that's going to coerce you into some type of bad energy. Some type of something that's going to come unnaturally to me. Have me exploiting you or something, I don't know, try to make a way for myself. Crab in the barrel ass world we're in, man, I'm tired of it. That's why I'm tired. It's because it don't allow me to sit still and just be productive without having to chase something, take something from somebody else. I don't want to take nothing from nobody else. I want to give. I don't have anything, so I can't take it. You see what I'm saying? I want to give, but I don't have anything, so I can't take. So I give what I have in my heart every day. Consistency, example. You can do it, even though I'm failing to. But there's still time on the clock, so we keep focused. That's the mentality. Tomorrow morning, the market's open. Boom, the thing goes to $100,000. Now I can fix all my problems. It's possible because I've made these sacrifices. Is it probable? Absolutely not. The pattern tells me it's not going to happen. But the due diligence that I've put into it tells me that I need to keep the faith. And when I pray about it, the Lord tells me to keep the faith. But as I pray, the consequences of not working and keeping the faith is kicking my butt. Telling me to sit still and do nothing. It's leading to nothing. So this is where we at, man. It's the day before the great thing happens, and I'm still sitting here with faith. And I'm telling you it looks bad, and I'm telling you they're coming for me. And it's like, that's cool. I support their decision because I understand business. I just thought that this was going to go a different way. I didn't prepare for it not to, because my mental illness wouldn't allow me to, because I hated myself enough to not do everything I could to protect myself in this situation. I think that's what I was working against. It's in the midst of this process, I started loving myself somewhere in between it. Because I pulled my hand across the wrist like, all right, in the 6-minute mark, you started loving yourself. And then from there, but I had already done things back there that hurt me. I had already done things back there that was going to hit me today. So now I'm in this space where I say I love myself and all this, but I'm still paying for mistakes that I was swinging myself back then about. So I'm just tired, man. I'm not even really upset or sad or nothing. I've given it all to God. I'm praying. I'm frustrated. I'm telling him it's not working out the way I wanted to, but I'm still leaning on his faith because he's done so much in regards to leading me up to this point. This could have happened 3 and 4 times since then, but he gave me money out of nowhere. He helped me from this away. got me through that thing. He gave me this solution. There's been so many different solutions that I can't sit up here and say, Lord hates me, he left me here, and I forgot him. No, he wants me to stay in a space that is uncomfortable so I can do the things that I do. I've done that, and what comes with that comes to you. Me in this case. When you do that. So it's like, it's the longest therapy session probably ever. I don't care. I'm going to keep talking. Because I have that much on my heart, and it's bothering me. But it's like, I want to be better, but I don't know if the things that I believe in allow me to be, quote unquote, better. And I see what so many of my brothers and sisters dealing with out here in these streets. And it's like, you got to do something. If you got talent, you got to go in there, at least shake somebody's hand, make them pay you so you can bring that money back to us. But it's like, must I do that? What am I shaking to now? What am I shaking to? I watch people, all this stuff that I see, I don't like none of it. I want to talk against it, and I know I have no right to once I do. Once I shake their hand, I got to be like, I see evil, but I don't hear it. That looks funny, but I can't say it. It's like, bro, I'd rather not. I'm 38 years old, bro. I'd rather not. So that's where I'm at. And it's like you start thinking about your life. You're like, if I get a nice long life out of this, I don't have no kids at 40 years old, so to speak. If things stay on this path, it's like I'm going to be an old man, you know, without a lot of things going for himself because of the things that I've chosen to do, especially this hole I put myself in this time. It's like, you start really thinking about that. It's like, this is like a 10-year hole I put myself in. Do I really want to go through that between 40 and 50? Or 38 and 48? No. Do I see a path to a quick bag? No. Not the way I am. Hell no. I see a quicker path to homelessness than I do to success. I kid you not. You know what I mean? It's depressing, man. My life is depressing. I've made decisions for the right reasons, but had the wrong habits leading up to those situations. Of course, me into failure every time. I know how to fail. It's sad, but it's true. I know how to win because I know how to fail. But I was trying this time, man. That's the part that really grinds my gears. For the first time, I really think that I deserve better energy, even if halfway through I wasn't getting it right. The other half, I should be getting some payment for that other half, right? Shouldn't something good be coming for all these good things I've been trying to do? I think they may be. But I'm in a space where I ain't seen that yet. The part of that movie ain't played yet. We still sitting here. So I tell you to keep the faith, just like I tell myself, man, there's still time on the clock, you know, whatever. But as far as dealing with this, what I have to deal with, my natural inclination is to not. Simply not. And that's what got me in this position in the first place, not. Parts that bother me about it, thinking about when they sent the first notice telling me that they were intending to do this. I put it in my Bible. Prayed about it. Prayed some more. The Lord put it in my heart to take the paper and put it underneath my feet and do squats on it. I kid you not. I stood on that paper. Did squats on it for about an hour. That's what the Lord coerced me to do. And that's what I tell myself anyways. All these different things are the Lord. Because it truly is. I'm praying, Holy Spirit, please, praise God, all of this while I'm doing all of this. Same voice that tells me I can do it, I can make it, get down there, do some more. It's the same voice that told me to put that thing underneath my feet and don't worry about it. Keep it together, stay strong in this process. Stay strong ain't gonna pay me a dime, it ain't gonna pay them a dime, it ain't gonna get me out of anything. It ain't gonna put me in a warm bed like I'm in right now, it ain't gonna do none of that. And that's the thing, it's like, you know, you look at God and you say to him, man, I'm trying to be faithful. And I look around, I see other people who've been faithful, have a much worse path, so I ain't got no right to complain. I just got to sit here and take my pain, right? But it's like, bro, I'm not having no fun here, man. I understand what I need to do. I understand what you're telling me to wait for, and I've been sitting here for a year, 2 years, alone, and it's been hard as stuff, man. It's hard. I'm eating bland food every day, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to make it because of my body rejecting everything I eat. Got health stuff, and it's like, a lot of it's probably caused by stress and isolation and lack of sunlight. I think it's a combination of those three. And it's like, even though I'm working out and doing all I need to do, I'm still getting sicker because there's no love here, man. Only the love in my heart. I now reach out very seldom to people because I have more concerns about hate than I do about receiving love. And I just am tired of living on the earth where I perceive this way. I'm tired of fighting myself and coming to no avail. I'm tired of having these ideas that I'm going to be a savior of the world when I can't even save myself. And I take on these big freaking fights that always leave me with the short end of the stick. It's the same thing I did when I was working at a job that I had, Park Place. And granted, I was doing things the wrong way, not acknowledging that, but still wanting people to treat me a certain way. Childish. But nevertheless, I went around telling people that, my own way, that I hadn't been treated fairly. I wrote a letter, same type of letter that I need to write this week. Put it on all the doors of the people who were of the board of that building, and let them know that I was serious about my intentions, and I was proud of myself for doing it, but it didn't lead to nothing. The people didn't change doing nothing. I was the one that got removed. It's kind of the same way I feel right now. It's like I'm fighting, standing up to corruption, but I got no help. The only thing I got is God coercing me out of those circumstances after I do whatever I do. I don't ever get nothing out of it. So I don't perceive what it is that I get out of it any good. And this is that again, fighting AMC battle. It ain't done nothing for me, man. It really hasn't. It's like you stand there, you say, I want to fight corruption. I want to. I think it's necessary that everybody do so, but half the world don't even believe that shit is happening. Half the world is wearing clown shoes. They don't even know this is going on, man. And you sitting there, you tell them, nobody's buying. They're buying the shares, but it's not going nowhere, bro. It's because the world is coerced by people who comply with this nonsense, which is why I don't reach for success. I don't want to contribute to this. I don't want to contribute to this. You know what I mean? None of it. It's bad. I want to contribute to what the Lord wants me to, and as a result, I am in a space where I don't know what the heck happens next. Because everywhere I look, it's either sin or temptation or some luring energy that wants me to be something that I desperately want not to be, while fighting against traits of myself that's always been there that I desperately don't want to keep. I don't know that I have a home in this world, man. Even the people I love, I don't want to live with because of how I am. I'm talking 3 in the morning, it's 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, and I want to talk into my phone for an hour. Who the hell can I live with? I can't live with nobody because I've never lived with nobody but my mother. I'm not wired to live with people. I'm not even wired to be around anybody. This is why the rubber meets the road for a man like myself who don't have a whole lot, who don't want to do much of anything because I anticipate the worst of everything and know it's going to get worse because that's just what life is. Your body gets worse. If nothing else, you can be happy as you want. You're just going to get older and older and older. And as I know that, and I struggle with being by myself and not having much to show for it, some of the people I want to speak to, you know what I mean? They got their own lives and doing their own thing. Other people I don't want to speak to, they're not here too. So it's like I'm by myself, you know? But I want to be a good example to y'all. It's like I can't quit. I can't quit, but like I can't face this either. So one or the other. It's like when I tell myself I can't face this, you know what I mean? It's like those are the weaknesses inside I've been dealing with my whole life. But the reality is, that's what it is. I feel the anxiety in my stomach that makes myself even sicker. I feel that feeling in my nose that makes me want to throw a fit or what have you. It's just unnecessary stress that comes about, manifested by just whatever's going on here, man. It leaves me at a disadvantage. It leaves me inaccurate or whatever. It just leaves me in this position to be a bad example. An example of what not to do. And I'm okay with that if that's what the Lord wants to do. But I just wish he would get it over with, man. Let's move on. The way I see it is if this is how my life's going to be, let's cut it short, family. Let's get this shit over with and end it. That's exactly how I feel. Not that I'm going to do anything to make that happen because I'm too weak to do that. I don't want to see the trauma or the pain that comes from a failed suicide attempt. So I just sit here and sulk. That's my natural inclination anyway. Now I got better habits, of course. Art, prayer, channel. But it doesn't help me do what needs to be done in order to deal with people. Like, it don't. This ain't going to make it any easier to go down to the courthouse. This ain't going to make it no easier to have to go move and find a place to stay and fail because there's nowhere to stay in California. That's under $2,000. So moving out of state is imminent for me. And I don't want to move out of state. I've never lived anywhere else. You see what I'm saying? It's rubber meets the road. It's a lot of stuff. It's just like, okay, my head is either going to have to go into some ruptured spaces or the alternative, which ain't too pretty. But I'm telling you, man, it's not about being sad. I'm not even sad. I'm just like, God didn't really come through this time. You know, I mean, what can I say? What can I say? It's not about him not coming through in a sense that he didn't squeeze it. It's that he allowed me to feel that this was going to be all right the whole time. I would have loved for him to say, yo, I'm bringing you into this space, but it ain't going to go well. So don't anticipate it going well, so that when it doesn't, you at least take the good from what it is that we've done here and be able to appreciate that more. That ain't how that went. It was like, we're going to be fine, B. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Just sit here. We're going to be fine. No, don't go back to work. No, don't. That's what I've been told. And it's like, yeah, you've been able to extract from me what you need, but you left me in a spot where I'm not too happy, fam. And I love you just the same, and I'm trying to do what I need to do for your people, but you let me sit in these spaces. Is that supposed to make me a better person? All that does is breed bitterness within my heart, I think. Bitterness, you know. So that's what I'm feeling, is a bit of bitterness. I'm angry at those who didn't, you know, let the squeeze happen. You know what I'm saying? All those individuals behind the scenes who are kicking the can down the road, who I have a legitimate lawsuit for. You know, those are the people I'm really, really thinking have failed me here. And you have mental illness and you're trying to fight them. And they continue to just win. It's like, that's whose fault this actually is. I'm mentally ill. And I can barely take care of myself. And I needed that squeeze to happen, and it just didn't. And whatever happens to me next is because of that. It's the God's honest truth, man. And like, that's no excuse to fail or quit life or not be productive, but it is what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. I held not long, and I'm holding, but unless this swing squeezes very soon, I'm gonna be homeless, or asking people to help me out of the situation, or selling out of my position. And the thing about it is, this is another thing that I've come to spiritually receive, even though this may not actually be the case. Every time I sell out of anything, it goes up. Crypto, study my therapy sessions. It's a consistent thing. It's a demon in my life. Anytime I sell shares, it goes up afterward. Anytime I sell crypto, it goes up afterward. Anytime I buy something, it goes down afterward. This is consistency. It's just about timing. And my timing is off. It's about anticipation, and anticipation is off a lot of the time. And so my instincts be failing me in that way. And I pray about it, and the Lord just allows me to stay in this space. It's like, you didn't need that money anyway. Just keep staying. Just keep going, man. And you replenish it. Like, hey, look what we did. We got more shares now. You didn't even work. See, it's like all of that type of stuff has been happening. It's like, okay, well, I guess that means I can sit here and do art. You know, I just wish the Lord loved me enough to allow me some type of bridge to some type of peace. You know what I'm saying? You extract from me everything you want, just like these people do. They extract everything from these black folks and just exploit them. But when it's time for them to get something to make them feel good, it's like, wait a minute. You want to be what? You a Hebrew now? Oh, no, you ain't no damn Hebrew, Negro. No, you not that. You better get back in your place, put on these damn clown shoes. It's like, you want me to live in a world like that? With this brain, I don't want to be here. If I can't destroy that energy, I definitely don't want to coexist with it. You see what I'm saying? It's like, when you got a brain like this, and you think like I do, you can't just sit here, struggle with what I struggle with, and then want to keep going. You don't want to keep going. You want to get the hell out of here. Honestly. But you can't. You cannot. The same thing that doesn't allow you to get the hell out of here is the same thing that doesn't allow you to get your mind into a space where you can work and help yourself. You got to deal with those struggles if you do that. You got to deal with the fact that the squeeze ain't happening. You got to humble yourself to the fact you got to go back to work, even though you told yourself you never would, because corruption won. At least it has us up until this point. It just won. And your uncle told you it was going to happen. He said, they ain't going to pay you. I was like, man, but the due diligence of this real. He's like, but they're not. And I'm like, man, he FUD, man. He ain't telling me nothing I want to hear. He ain't, he's a deterrent to this issue. He telling me, nah, it's just corruption, bro. They ain't going to. It's not. And that's where we at. It's like, but I'm going to hold my shares anyway, because, like, it's not until it do. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, they have to deal with us. That's what I would tell my uncle. Like, it ain't about whether or not they're going to give it to us. They're not going to give it to us. I didn't disagree with my uncle. They're not. We got to take it from them. That's the point. Apes had to come together and fight through all of this in order to defeat those evil bastards. This is what is required. This is so that our generations of future kids don't have to suffer through the bull crap that they're on. You know, the slaves, they sat through slavery for 400 plus years. FUD every day telling them their whole lives and their grandparents' whole lives and their grandkids' whole lives that they would never see freedom, and I'm free. Do you understand what I'm saying? They had to wait until that moment came. It wasn't true until it was. And this is just the same. I ain't saying the squeeze ain't gonna happen. I'm telling you it is. Y'all better have some shares. That ain't financial advice. That's the truth. Y'all better have some. But you also better be ready to make sure you can hold on to them. Don't put yourself in a position like me. Because this thing could take another 7-8 years. I didn't have no plan for that. This is what was going to happen if that took another 7-8 years. This. And I didn't protect myself from that. And I knew that I was going to want to kill myself at the end of that process. I knew that. I don't want to. But I knew that that was going to be the thing that I saw there for myself. Instead of wanting to face these traumas, because that's what comes naturally to me. I'm not facing no damn traumas. I've run from traumas all my whole life. This is the truth, bro. That was my plan. Like, look, if this shit don't work, I'm out. And now that we in this space where it didn't work, I'm like, I don't want to be out. That's where we at. It's like, damn, that didn't play out the way I was hoping it would. I was hoping I would be ready to leave. Not necessarily love myself and have all these different things that I'm proud of. I got this channel and all these therapy sessions where I told people to protect their mind and all these different things that the Lord, I'm sure, is proud of. He's proud. Every time I go in my innermost, he tells me he's happy with me and that he's sorry that he put me in this space too. I've heard that more than once. There's one time I heard, if you get a job, make life easier for you. It's the only time I heard that. One time early in the situation. I'm like, bro, I can't even bring myself to work. Don't think that no more. And I didn't. I'm a sick man, y'all. I'm very, 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 very disturbed in my mind. I always have been my whole life, man. I've loved people, though. I don't look to take nothing from nobody. I don't have no weird, sick fetishes or nothing like that. I'm not looking to do things that otherwise would define me as a maniac. But I'm telling you, the solution I have to a lot of my struggles is death. Always has been, even when I was a little kid. If anybody wanted to know why I was able to do these things, it's because I was always the plan. Not necessarily to kill myself, but to not survive if it went wrong. If I could just shut the heart off and let it just not. But then it's like, I don't get to accomplish the things I love to do. When I'm making playlists, I'm like, yo, I'm glad I ain't dead. When I make a video of the Lakers and I'm enjoying it, I'm like, yo, yeah, that's kind of cool to be alive for this moment. There were a lot of times where I didn't want to, but I'm glad I made it here. Those type of things just happen a lot now. I'm happy now. In my head, for what it's worth, I love me. I'm good. Tell myself I can help myself every day, but it's like when it comes to these stresses and the weight weighs down on me and I'm still retreating to say praise God instead of, oh my God, I'm hurting. It's still the same thing, man. You can tell yourself praise God, but you're still feeling the stomach knots. You still got the funny nose feeling. You still got the understanding that death would probably be a lot easier for you than whatever the heck you're anticipating it. A lot easier. And it's like, but you don't want to quit because you want to be a better example, It's like there are people going through worse stuff. They need to be able to get through this. They got people who have worse mental health issues, who got bigger things they need to be able to accomplish. They can't quit, bro. But it's like if you in their head, if you can't protect them from what's coming, how can you really tell them that? How can you tell them that they got to sit there and endure pain that you don't know? It's like we're in a world where it's like we can't tell people to escape their suffering. They got to endure for our betterment. You're stupid. You stayed in this life suffering. Even though I'm having a good life, you're supposed to feel whatever you're feeling, and that satisfies me. It's like, no, man, people are suffering, bro. Like God's honest suffering. And if you can't fathom that, then you probably are going to live your life mistaken about certain things like that. And I think about the indifference. I'm like, man, I think about bull crap like, people care. Like, somebody's going to see this and be like, nah, B, I got you. We're going to take care of that. It's like, how? I don't even allow people to talk to me. Even if somebody wanted to help me, that couldn't reach me. It's part of the sickness. I don't want to interact. And so it just gets to a point where the rubber meets the road. What can I do? This is going to lead to me being in a room with a bunch of men. So that's what happens. You get sailed up. They lock you away for not paying taxes, for not paying people, for not going to court dates and all this shit. You go to jail for sitting still. For a further reason why I want to get up out of here. I don't want nobody coming in here making me feeling traumatic feelings, trying to pull me out of my own apartment because I ain't pay them, which they have a right to do in the world we're in. I don't want to go through that. It's just, I've never gone through that. I don't want to go through that. It ain't necessary. It's just a bunch of stuff. It's like, if God had real intentions upon seeing me successful, you got to give me more positive mindset than I already have. I got to keep on praying. I got to keep staying in this space. You know what I mean? I got to get down to that courtroom, show these people that my intentions is to not just be nobody. You know what I mean? That I once had a job. I once had a car. I once had, you know what I mean? The practice of paying bills and stuff. Life was going well for a good 2 years. I ain't had no problems. But AMC came into my life. My nieces passed away. My buddy Adam passed away. Skin allergies, food allergies, weed habits, loneliness. Mom died. All that shit, man. I'm tired, bro. What you want me to say? I'm tired. It ain't even about being weary. It's no one here. You feel me? No one's here. A lot of the people that would tell you keep going, they got somebody next to them right now telling them it's cool to keep going. I ain't got nobody here telling me shit. Not a damn thing, bro. And so it gets to a point where you just know you're self-motivated and you run out of frustration to even give people. It's like, oh, what else is there? What else do you want? I can go lay outside for you. That's how I feel, man. Gets to a point where that's all you really got. That's why I don't judge homeless people, because I know what lead them there. I know what mindsets and coerces them into spaces where they can't move. I'm fucking made of that. I literally am. I've always thought that was my fate, because I couldn't bring myself to do nothing but what they do. Until this year, when I was able to do so much by myself, still doing what they do, just more being done, unfortunately, because I was able. This is the truth, man. I'm chilling. I'm not going to do anything to myself, for those who are wondering. I'm not. We ain't there yet. There's still time on the clock. I still have my shares. But to have to sell out of that position, give myself no chance at the squeeze, or even worse, to let the squeeze happen after I sell out the position like I'm prone to do, I can't promise you I'm going to survive that. I really can't. The way I feel and what has to be done and how I anticipate, I don't. I feel very dangerous in regards to myself when it comes to that. And I have to be honest about that, because I know there are people probably grown to appreciate me, if not love me, for what I've said in this camera. And they would be very disappointed with me if I did something like that. But what I'm telling you is getting to a point where it's not love or hate that's driving that. It's just fatigue, man. It's fatigue, bro. It's not even tired of being alone. It's tired of wanting to be alone, and the consequences of that causing me so much stress. I don't want to deal with people, bro. I want to live in a world alone where I help people from a standstill position. I don't have the money to do it. That's it. Now I got to go back out there and try to be something that I'm not, around people that I would love to be around, if not for my mindset. And get older, still alone, bro. And it's like I don't have the desire to change this particular thing. I should, but it's like, what, I go back to go to work for 20 years? From here? Starting at 40? To build myself out of what debt? To what end? So that what can happen? This is what people have to reason with me when I start thinking about what the alternative is. Like, so what can happen? And then what? And I get to live a nice little life, right? Mortgage, whatever. But no path to being able to save the world. No path to really actually being able to do anything that of substance other than just take care of myself and fight the American dream, and then proceed to really relay my child to the same old crap. My children to the same old crap. They can put on clown shoes or something. I don't want to have no part of it, man. I want to be a part of the world where the squeeze happen. All these idiots are being revealed for what it is that they do, and then we have to revamp our entire thinking because of it. That's the world I want to be a part of. The one that he's trying to get me to dream up so that others can make it happen. But I may not live to see it, man. Because the world's going to be sucky all the time. I'm going to be here while y'all figure out the hell y'all need to do. The world's going to continue to be bad for a person like me all the way to the end. I might get to 80 years old and I might see the remnants of my influence or whatever things I've been praying about. It might show up eventually. That's how I farewell to this damn thing. But it's like, man, how much suffering I got to do between now and then? Because the last 20 years have sucked to high hell, man. They've sucked, bro. My whole life has been really, really hard. For me. For you, with a different brain, you'd be like, man, it ain't nothing. You ain't did nothing what you did. You ain't lived through nothing. And that makes me unhappy just the same. It's like I haven't. My stress indicators are weak. I'm not dealing with really anything. It's just my mind's overthinking, triple thinking. I see that coming. I see this coming. That's possible too. And it's like, nah, that don't let you walk into the room. Long ass video. Ain't nobody gonna watch this. But it's fine because I said a lot here that I needed to say. I'm not gonna kill myself today. It ain't that serious. It ain't. And God will probably do something to make me feel really good about not. I'm pretty sure. And I don't want anybody else to listen to what I'm saying and quit. What they need to do is quit, because I don't think that's what you should do. But you just got to understand. This is what I had to do to keep from feeling that way. I had to say this. I had to get it out. I had to use an outlet to make it work. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not anywhere feeling better after an hour and 20 minutes. I don't feel no better. I'm stressed out of hell, man. Everything I wanted to do has failed, and the things that I'm used to doing have not worked. And now I got to go back to with my tail tucked between my legs, telling people that I didn't do what I was supposed to do, because I really genuinely had the good things in heart that made that the case. God just didn't love me enough to make it happen yet, man. He let me suffer a little longer, and maybe I deserve that for old sins. I'm cool with that. Hey, old sins, man. Guys did bad stuff, bro. Stuff I ain't no business doing in the dark. God had me pegged from the beginning when I was messing up. It's like, all right, you gonna pay for it when you don't deserve it no more. You're gonna suffer too, and that's where we at. That's why I want to help people get away from those bad energies, man. You could be traumatized into being a monster, into being someone who receives so much pain because God is mad at monsters. What do you want me to say? It's God's honest truth. He mad at monsters. He don't want them to destroy others. He don't want them to destroy themselves. That's what it is, man. So you got to not become one to the best of your ability, so you don't suffer. So I try my best not to become a monster. I think I've done a good job. I don't think I am one. But to keep from being one, I had to retreat to this space for a long time and do exactly what I've done. In Jesus' name, I've done it. Maybe not so triumphant up until this point, but I've done it. I obeyed him. I sacrificed a lot of stuff I shouldn't have been sacrificing in a time in my life when it was important. Men do not sacrifice. Your 30s, it's very important you establish some strength, some foundation, some finances, some family. I didn't establish nothing. But the fact that I have a lot of regrets in my past and a whole lot to share with others, and a whole lot of isolation, desire to keep from ever being in their faces to share it. And God wants me to just keep kicking the can down the road. It's going to get better. Face this struggle. You got through that last one, a miracle, Ma. You can get through this too. I suppose I can. Or maybe there might be a day where I've gotten through it, and because of it, I'm enjoying a playlist, or enjoying a football game, or enjoying a basketball championship or some shit. But between now and then, I'm going to have to go through so much struggle that makes it so that I probably don't even want to go through it. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.